couple of weeks now. Some people have sent me mails, some people have sent me messages on Instagram, on WhatsApp, and I know that it's like there's this admission processing that is ongoing. I mean, either for September batch or for January 2024 batch. And most of the questions have always been, how do I go about filling the CAS shield that from ARU University? Yeah, so the CAS is the confirmation of acceptance of study. And as an international student, there's no way you will not have CAS if you want to. I mean, once they give you your offer, I mean, the next step is to go ahead and apply for CAS, because without that you can submit your visa, and I don't think there's no place for you actually in the university. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Your girl Ikome Kide, and I'm back with another video. So in this video I'm going to share, I mean, really all about the CAS shield, what I feel and all of that. I can remember everything, so I'll just take you through from how it started, from the admission process to when I finally got to feel my confirmation of acceptance of study, the shield, right? It's called the CAS. For ARU, it's called the CAS shield. I mean, different universities and their different process, but on this particular video I'm just talking about ARU University. Alright, so July 2022 I sent out my application to ARU University, and I think it was a month. Yeah, it was a month, because I got an offer ending of August, I think August 30th or 31st. So I got a conditional offer from ARU University. So, and they had put in there my student ID, they had put in there my full time, they had put in the dates of starting and the dates to end. They had given, or they always give the international students 2,000 off scholarship. It's called, I don't know, African Merit or International Merit Scholarship or something like that. 2,000 off your school fees. So, and then they wrote the conditions underneath for me to fulfill if I want to go ahead with studying in ARU. And the three conditions were I should provide SOP, that's statement of purpose, stating why I would want to come study in the university, my interest, what I plan to do afterwards. The second thing was that I should submit an official transcript. Now, when I was doing my applications to the school, I had submitted unofficial, the one where the university can just send to you. But this time around, one of the requirements for me to meet before my offer can change to an unconditional one was an official transcript from my university in Nigeria. And the third one was for me to provide most recent reference letter from my employee, and of course if you're not working, would obviously be from your lecturers back in school. Most recent reference letter, it has to be dated, it has to be the official email, it has to be written on later headed paper, and you know, all of that. So they gave me those three conditions. And then the fourth one was that you have to pay your deposit of, it was £4,000 as at then, but I know while I was going through, like while we're progressing, they had now said international students, it has to be 70%, or was it 60% now of your school fees, and not the 4,000 again. So it was going to now be like 6,000 or 7,000 now deposit here. But what I was sent was 4,000 deposit. So I had to meet up all of those requirements if I was going to go ahead to get a CAS before applying for visa and then moving on to the school. Okay, so I was then, so when they gave me the offer, I think that was 31st of August or thereabouts, I was still, because I had applied to other schools, I was still waiting. Oh, do I want ARU, or do I still want to wait for Hertfordshire, or do I, all of that doubts that you really are not sure of, and you just want to wait. But I think after 2 days, I think yes, I think it was exactly, I still remember, it was the 5th of September. I now logged in onto the eVision site, so they will send you like this site where you can go in and accept or refuse the offer. So I went in and I accepted the offer, and of course they send you a mail now stating the things that you need to submit again. So I was reminded again of the things that I need to submit. And yeah, that SOP, it was not just the normal way you just type everything on the paper. So like you can see here, it had boxes where you had to like fill in some things. I think the first one, like shown in the screen, the first one was, we'll talk about like what interests you and why you want to choose this course. The second one was going to be about what you plan to do after taking this course. Another one was talking about the module, what module in that your selected course most fascinates you, why do you really want to go for it. And I know the final box was like put in any additional information you would want the school to know about you. Could be any voluntary work that you had done and is related to your field of study, and all of that. So that it came in boxes for me to fill that in. So yeah, I filled that in and I scanned and I uploaded. So when you upload, the university would like send a response to check if they've accepted or if they've refused that document that you've submitted. So I know when I submitted the first one, I think the first one that I had ready, because of course I knew I was going to apply. So the first one I had ready was the reference letter. I had my reference letter ready from my Bowen University supervisor, my lecturer, and I had a reference letter ready from my employer. So that one was ready. So I uploaded those two, and I noticed like in the next 2 days the sent accepted. I didn't yet have my official transcript. I still had my unofficial one that my university had sent to me, and then I was still trying to write my SOP, and that's the statement of purpose, and make sure that it's making sense to get. So the next one I submitted. So they'll keep reminding you that, oh, you still have these 2 documents pending to submit and all of that. So the next one I submit. So I was like, okay, let me just try and put in my unofficial transcript and let's see how this goes. I remember putting my unofficial transcript, and they sent me a mail that this one is not accepted. And so I had to now, now I'm calling your schools and all of that. They're taking long in sending me that transcript. But eventually they finally sent it. So I put in they sent it to the school. Obviously they won't send it to me, so they sent it to my school. So I had to like send an email to them that my school says they've sent it to you. So they updated that on my eVision page, and then I finally submitted my statement of purpose. So I think the next two, process was really fast, and that was what I enjoyed about the ARU admission thingy. So days later, ticked my boxes, ticked my SOP accepted, ticked my official transcript accepted, ticked my reference letters accepted, and the next one was now to pay my deposit. I pray this video doesn't really take long yet, but the next one was to pay my deposit of £4,000, and I did that. I think I did that, yes, around early October. Can imagine I spent the whole of like September trying to submit all of this document because I didn't want to make any error. I had previous refusals, and I really wanted to take my time and just do this step by step and get through with it. Yeah, so I paid my school fees, and the next day I sent them an email with a screenshot that they should kindly confirm. So when they had given me the admission, they had given me a student ID number and all of that. So while I was sending them to confirm, I put in my student ID, all of those things you put in when you're making your payments as well. Yeah, so I put in all of those information, and to the fees ARU email asking them to confirm this payment, and they did. I think I sent that mail to them on a Friday, so obviously they would not respond till like Monday. So they responded on the Monday, October, I still remember, confirmed, and that same day they confirmed my school fees payment. Was the same day they changed my conditional offer to unconditional offer. They sent me a mail now telling me that I have been offered an unconditional offer in Anglia Ruskin University. They put in again the start date and the end date. They put in full time, they put in my courses again, they put in all of those things now for me. Yes, and then at that same day too, they had opened up the cash shield for me. They sent me a mail. The cash shield is now open. They sent me the login details that I would use to log in, and then eventually now change it to what suits me. So that day I opened the cash shield. It was really fast. I enjoyed it. Yeah. So I opened up the cash shield, and yeah, it had sections. It was more like you're starting like an application process again. So the first part was like your details, your passport number, your name, your date of birth, all of those, basic information that I'm sure you probably filled when you were applying to the school. So that's like the first basic part, when your expiry date of your passport, all of those things. Have you been, yeah. And then the second part, I can't remember it like line, but I remember the next part was talking about, not the next part, sorry, one of the parts, yeah, because I'm not sure if that's how it followed. But one of the parts was also going to talk about your payment finance. Yeah, so it asked you how much of your fees have you paid. It asked you to upload a receipt of it. It asked you how much is remaining. I think it even popped up, it showed how much was remaining, but it asked first. It asked for living expenses, how much you have to sort yourself out when you get to the UK. Yeah. Another part asked you to upload. There was a part that also, another section that will ask you to upload your document. There was a part that will ask you to upload your tuberculosis test. That's a test that you have to do once you want to travel into UK as an international student, and it has to be it has a six month duration. So they'll tell you to upload your tuberculosis test. They'll tell you to upload your proof of funds. Proof of funds is the balance. Now you've paid your deposits. There's outstanding. So your outstanding plus your living expenses is now is what's in your proof of funds, and you should have kept that for 28 to 30 to 31 days, and then you would now print that out and then submit. So they ask you to upload all of those. The section where you have to upload all of this information as well. And I can't remember in details what the other section was, but the good part was, as I was filling it, they would keep reminding you that you have this outstanding to fill and all of that. Yeah, so the first one I mentioned was the basic information about yourself. The next one talked about your finance part. I think the next one also asked about your plans to stay there, like where you're going to stay when you get to the UK, accommodation, you should put in where, how much, and all of that great stuff in there. And I know the last section, which a lot of people say that it was new to them because they've never, it was during my time, I think they inputted this section, and that was the precast interview session. Yeah, so it was said that after filling in those basic details, putting your passport, putting in your tuberculosis test, your proof of funds, everything, that they would now acknowledge that and send you whatever, maybe a mail now carrying that, oh, you're going to be scheduled for a precast interview on so day and all of that. Yeah, but during my time, that was January 2023, it didn't happen that way. We now saw a section on that CAS shield that said CAS interview in there. So that was the last. After filling all of those, it will keep telling you that, oh, you have this outstanding, you need to fill, and you need to like take really care, like you need to be careful when you're filling these things, because they're asking you for the amount you have outstanding, they're asking you for where you're staying, they're asking you all of those things about your finance, and they would still ask you again when it's time for your precast interview. And sometimes you fill it in again, maybe during your visa processing. So it's good to like be careful of what you're putting into all of those spaces on your portal. Yeah, so we saw that precast interview, and when we click on it, it was, so when I asked, it was said that due to the high volume. So at this point, I had messaged like one of the school representatives, and she had added me to like the school WhatsApp group, like intending students that were coming to Anglo-Ruskin. So it was there, people were raising that concern and all of that. Some people were like, oh, I was already called, I was sent a mail that and I'd already done my interview. Someone had done the interview with me. So why am I now seeing this again on my portal? And I know the student rep there was now telling us that due to the high volume of students they were having that last year, that was why they now put in the questions already there on that portal. So you click on it, the questions are already there, and it just starts, you answer, it records it, and it just submits it. And they won't be able to go around interviewing everybody one by one again. So it's there on your portal, and you just have to click on it. And once you're done filling on all those great details, right, you click on it and you start your interview. Once you are ready, you have a stable internet, everywhere is quiet around you, you can click on it and then start like the interview. So I didn't click on that particular one that day. I made sure like I was ready. I made sure like I prepared very well. I read questions from Nairaland, asked questions on the group where I was, possible questions that could, come in the precast interview, and there I was ready for it. I think still that same week I clicked on it to start. So this is how it goes. I don't know how to explain this. So it has to, so it tells you questions. So the first one was just to hold your passport close to your face and say your date of birth. That was the first one. And so the thing is, you have two trials for each of the questions. So you say the first one, and if you're not sure that you want to submit that one, you do a second one. You do it, answer the question again the second time. Then you listen to the first one you did, you listen to the second one you did, and then you ask yourself, which one do I want to submit? And then you click it and it goes. So you just have 2 times to answer the question, and it's timed. I can't remember the timing, but it is timed. Not that hard, just prepare for it and then you're good to go. So the first question I know was put your passport close to your face, say your date of birth, say it really loud, and you can listen. You listen to yourself after you finish. So if you feel that's not what you want, you have a second time to do it, and that's all. And you click on submit. Then I had 14 questions. I think it lasted for like 20 minutes or 15 minutes thereabout. I can't remember. And the first question was, why do you choose UK why UK, not any other country, right? So you talk about why you choose UK as your choice of study and not any other university. Another question was, probably I'm sure you've applied to other universities before. So they're like, tell us those other universities you've applied to and the courses I think that you picked. That was the question. Tell us about the 3 other universities you picked and the courses you picked. Another question was, name 3 things. I think 3 things that you love most about the UK. Give us 3 things that you love most about the UK. They asked question, or if you've applied before to other countries, or if you've gone before to study in any other country, you should state that. They also asked if you've been refused to visa before, and it's important to tell the truth, because remember when you did your application process, I was asked if I've had a visa refusal before. While I was putting in my CAS shield, I was asked again, and how you're being asked again in the precast interview, and you'll be asked again when you're doing your visa processing. So all of these things are linked. So remember not to lie, say the truth at all times. So I was asked if I was refused to visa, because I answered it. You'll also be asked for where you're going to be staying when you get to the UK. So at this point, I'd already looked up where I was staying. They'll ask you for the cost, how much you're going to be paying. They'll ask you for the distance. I think it was only one question, I can't remember. They ask for the distance from it to school, how close it is to school. They'll also ask you how you were able to save up this money that you used in paying your school fees. They'll ask if it was your sponsor or if it was you. I know another question was you should list the courses. At this point, you should, after writing SOP, after, because even when your offer letter comes, they will even still give you like this supplementary information and course details, telling you about your course, telling you about the modules, telling you how you'll be doing. So at this point, you would have familiarized yourself with your courses and your modules and the trimesters or semesters or whatever, how it's going to be happening. So they will ask you to mention your courses, your modules, and they will ask you to state the one that fascinates you the most, what's interesting about that one to you. They will also ask you if you're coming to the UK with a dependent, and that's someone who will be living off you, someone you'll be taking care of, when you come into the UK. Then I know they also asked me to, some of these questions differ, but most of them, yes, I still saw most of them were asked. But maybe, let's say, out of the 14 questions I asked from the help I got from the group, maybe slight changes, but most of it was still the same. I was asked what's my hobby, or what's the hobby I'm going to be doing when I get to Cambridge. I was asked what do I think, or what do I know Cambridge is good in, or what happens a lot at Cambridge. And then one of them was like the historic site and cycling and all of that. I mentioned that as well. I was also asked after school, what's your plan for after school? What do you want to do after school? What do you want to use this certificate for after school? I was also asked if I'm going to stay back in the UK after schooling. I was also asked, I remember also being asked if I was going to be working while studying, if I know what I'm entitled to, my 20 hours, and if I was going to be working while studying or just studying it all. Yeah, so those questions they're just written on your screen, and you click on next, you see the question, then you click on start for you to start recording your answer. Yeah, your face shows, and you do that once and you're not comfortable with it, you click on the retry, you do the second one, you ask yourself if that's what you want or if you want to start it. Let me see if I've omitted any of the questions here that I was asked. Yeah, so they asked me, put in your passport, aside UK, which other study destination did you choose? What course will you be studying? What's most fascinating? Explain 3 other reasons why you've chosen Anglia Ruskin University apart from ranking levels. They asked what other universities did you apply to and what was the main reason why you chose ARU? What hobby would you like to come do in the UK? Accommodation, have you considered what type? Provide your details. Remember, you've provided details also in your CAS shield. So it should be the same thing. It should align all through. They'll ask what's the source of your funding. Have you been the one working or you have a sponsor? They ask you to provide further details about it. And I remember at my point, I remember it was at that point that they now said, oh, you have to now pay 60% of your deposit, because I remember them talking about the Form A thing taking too long or something that was just going to happen after the year ends. So they're now like, oh, international students now have to pay 60% of their fees. So they asked me at that point, are you aware that you have to pay 60% of your school fees before you can be given your CAS? So they asked me that as well. They also asked me if I mentioned this, if I plan to work while studying, do I know how many hours? What do you plan to do when you graduate? What's one thing in the world that you would like to change? Coming with a dependent, study visa, have you had a refusal or not yet? So it was this basic, it was 14 questions I remember, and I think I did it on 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and I just clicked go. Yes, he went, and at that point, yes, this is where people's hearts now skipping, because everybody's CAS portal, the status now, it has to get to 100% before they can now give you your CAS number, because it is your CAS number that you will now start using for your visa application. Without that, you cannot start your visa application. You cannot just use your offer letter, conditional offer, or your unconditional offer to apply for visa. You need to have confirmation of acceptance of study. It means you now finally have a place in that university and you can go ahead to apply for a visa. So I submitted, they said, oh, you can come back to track the status of your application. I remember that evening, I was very eager and all of that, and it was already getting to like November. School was starting in January, so I was, really, really eager for this thing to just run to 100. I think I checked that night, it was at 25%, and like, okay, we're getting there. I checked the next morning, it was still 25. I checked like afternoon of the next day, it had gotten up to 69. I was like, okay, now tomorrow, next day, we are getting there. Meanwhile, I'd heard of other students that were like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it was still on 25. It was moving to 39. It was going. I knew a lot of students, that were like, like complaining on the group. You would think is, oh, when you submit, that's how long it will be taking. But I knew people that submitted earlier than me, and we're still complaining in the group that theirs was at 25, theirs is still at 36, theirs is still at, and I was like, what's going on? I just did yesterday and I'm on 65 this afternoon. And then I was like, okay, next day is going to be 100. I don't know what happened. I just checked the night of that day and it was on. I think I got a mail from them. That was what I was like, what's going on? So it was that night I had gotten a mail that my CAS number. So the mail came with my CAS number now. So it was that mail that prompted me to now go check like my status, and I saw my status was 100%. I was really shocked. I didn't expect it, because from what people were saying and how long it took, I was like, oh, maybe this one is going to take like a week or thereabouts. But in 2 days it had gotten to 100%, and I got my CAS number. Now it was printed out, everything with your unconditional offer again, everything is there, your full-time study, everything you just basically need to know about your school. And there's a point, I can't remember where exactly, there's a point at each of those steps where it now tells you like the balance of your school fees. I don't know if it was on my filling my CAS shield. So your CAS shield will tell you what is left after you have filled. I remember we had deadlines to meet, and that's what everybody was working towards. So they gave me my CAS number, and that was when I now started thinking of visa application. Now for visa application, I needed that my CAS number. I still needed my tuberculosis test result. I needed my proof of funds to be used. You need your passport again, and you start a whole new application again. I don't want to go into visa application today. Today was just talking about the CAS shield. Because a lot of people were like, oh, they search this information. And I remember too, when I wanted to do my CAS, I didn't get this information concerning like Ruskin University. It was really confusing. You wouldn't know what information you put. You wouldn't even know what to expect next and all of that. Searched on YouTube. I didn't find information concerning that. So a few of these people now reached out to me and were like, oh, it will be important I talk about the feeling of the CAS shield and how to get the CAS number. And I remember somebody, the proof of funds, like I said, is to be 28 to 30. I remember somebody telling me that she wanted to submit it after 2 days. I don't know why you want to try yourself. I don't know. It's written there. Some people 28 to 30 days, 31 days. And you want to carry proof of funds. Of what are you like? Do they not know what they're asking you for? So it's important that we just follow rules, follow what the school wants, so that we're not the ones that are causing these things for ourselves. And that's how it went. It was pretty much very, I've mentioned that one of the things what I liked about them was that they answered me really, really fast. It was fast. When you emailed the school, they're ready to respond, even when they had that high volume of students, because it was obvious, even on the WhatsApp group we were a lot, and they still had time. School representatives were on that group responding to people. If you had queries, they would pick up your student ID from there, and they would try to respond to you from there. You email the school and they would respond to you and take it up from there. And yes, that's how my CAS processing went for my school in ARU. And if I don't know if there's anything I have not covered in this video. If there's nothing, please you can drop a comment, and of course always willing to respond to that. So that's how we went. And yeah, that's all about this video. I'm sorry it took this long. Yes, sorry it took this long. And that will be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe, please remember to like, and remember to drop a comment. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye for now.